Let me tell you a truly impulsive tale about the future I foresaw and the true form of Getter. Hello and welcome back to another Plamo review. Today we're taking a look at the high-grade Getter Arc. Alright, and starting off as always with the articulation. The head can look back, not that far, but can look down pretty far, tilt to either side, and can get a full rotation. The shoulders are on an upwards hinge, as well as a ball joint. The shoulder pads are on a separate ball joint to the rest of the arm's hinge, meaning they can get out of the way, and the arm can go out 90 degrees. Rotation at the elbow, as well as a double jointed bend, though just because of how bulky the upper arm is, you don't get much above 90 degrees there. And as always, ball joint at the wrist. There's a ball joint in the chest, as well as in the waist, though due to the design of Arc, you don't get much movement out of them. Then the hips can hinge down, so you can get, a decent amount of range out of them. Though if you really want to get a high kick, the leg kind of rotates weird. That said, it's still enough to get most poses you would want at Arc. The knee gets about 45 degrees at the top joint, and then can bend at the bottom for about another 90, so you get, a full bend, though it does look a little bit weird. And the ankle's on a side-to-side pivot and a ball joint, though it is fairly limited, I have to be honest. And all the spikes on the Thunder Bomber are on universal joints. So overall, Arc's articulation is a bit limited, but most of it is because of the design, and some of it is because the engineering's a little lazy, let's say. Alright, getting into the accessories, let's start off as always with the sticker sheet. Not actually that bad, focus. You have the eyes, which are color separated anyway. You just get the little pupils, which I actually painted on mine. These are for the closed face, these are for the open face. This is the little dot on the forehead. You get two for some reason. Then these are the trim on the shoulder pads, and then all the silver bits are for the tomahawks. So as you can tell from the sticker sheet, the color correction is actually very, very minimal on this. It's pretty much just the little details on the face. These are supposed to be silver, they're molded in the white plastic. And then it's just, the trim on the shoulders, the joints on the pairs of hands, and technically the bottom of the feet are supposed to be like black, but honestly I like the dark red plastic, they come in more anyway, so I just left them. So yeah, overall, the color separation is really good. It's mostly just really small details like the face that needs to be painted. So getting into the accessories proper, let's start off with the one that's currently on Arc, the Thunder Bomber, which plugs into the back rather securely, to be honest. It's a big rectangular peg. Arc kind of looks wrong without it, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, all these are articulated, which does make it a little bit of a pain to pose it with them all evenly spread, but when you want to use or have it posed, doing the Thunder Bomber pose is actually take it off and flip it around this way and, fan them all out. I mean, it works. They probably could have just gotten away with like a big peg, but a large tab that means you have to swap it isn't really a problem either. And for the sake of not having to deal with all those spikes, I'll leave it off for now. Now let's move on to the hands, which you get two holding hands, as well as two open expressive hands. You also get the curled form of the Battle Shot Cutter, which is apparently what they're called. These literally just sit on the arm. It's not a really secure connection either, to be completely honest. And you do also get the unfurled version, which is notably a lot shorter, though in the manga they pretty much get whatever length they want, so I actually kind of prefer these shorter ones, because they don't get in the way when you try and pose. And also they kind of remind me of Shin Getter, which is never a bad thing. Also, you do get a swappable faceplate for the Getter Crush, which is a very memorable moment from the manga. And it does actually require a decent amount of paint on this. But yeah, you need to paint the teeth and the black inside the mouth on this as well, which is a very small piece. That said, these are pretty easy to swap over. They're just held down by a single peg, though I would recommend popping the head off in order to swap them, because you can sort of hook it out from underneath the chin. And finally, we have the Getter Tomahawks, which actually are two pieces. The area here is actually split down the middle, though the blade is all on one side. And yeah, the blade is supposed to be more of a silver. This is sort of a bluish silver. So I did paint them, though, like I said, it does come with stickers for it. And I would watch out, because these are actually fairly sharp spikes on these. And yeah, these just slide into the holding hands, and I've heard that they're loose for some people, but honestly for mine, they're fine. I mean, they rotate a little bit, but they don't really fall out unless you go out of your way to tip it. They're held perfectly fine for any poses I put it in. And you do get the little connector piece, so you can just shove these into both sides and get the double labyrinthus, which, yeah, fair enough. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be rotated that way, yeah. I mean, it's basically just tomahawk boomerang, but, I mean, it is cool. I do prefer the separate ones, personally, but... And also, one last thing. It does come with an action base. Specifically, action base 4, though only with one base. Though I will say, I love the fact it comes with a red base. I really like this. And as for a quick size comparison... Yeah, I mean... It's pretty much 1/44 scale. The arc is pretty big. So, to wrap this review up, Getter Arc is, I really like it, but I don't know if it's worth the price. The engineering is honestly slightly worse than the old Getter 1 kit they made in the early 2000s. The color separation's better, but, man, the knees are bad. And the hips are fairly limited. The torso doesn't get a lot of... Like, the articulation's not amazing, but you can still get it into a decent amount of poses, and color separation's good. The sculpt is great. Like, the sculpt is genuinely amazing. Really, I recommend this if you like Getter. I am a big Getter fan. I also have the SD Shin Getter, but I do kind of wish that the engineering was a little bit better. Despite the size, this is not a master grade. This is pretty much a Re 100. I mean, it's a high grade, but... So I guess I like the kit, but the engineering's kind of underwhelming. Anyway, that's all for this review. Be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, helps a lot. Subscribe and hit the bell for future reviews. Go follow me on Twitter for updates, and consider supporting me on Patreon so I can keep making reviews just like this one. And as always, until next time, happy building.